Don't play with it, don't be dishonest. Still not understand.
Hello and welcome back to Shinelikeadiamond.initiative channel with me, Priscilla Gillespie. We are here back today to discuss topics and questions that have been sent to us. So again, to continue this open conversation of this beautiful subject, to empower these children and give them a voice, because we do know there's a lot of children there who don't have a voice, and parents who kind of can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So by opening this conversation, we are all going to find a common ground where we are able to tackle questions and be able to reach out to people out there. Hopefully, as I was helped by Jenny, is back again with us. So Jenny, I have a question from a gentleman called Steve. Steve is the chairman of the Dandora Disabled Community, and they've done a very good job with the disabled community down there. It is a bit of a challenge for them in terms of finance, and when I was speaking to them, because I flew out there and I was able to meet a lot of people, there's not much help out there. There is no knowledge, and another one, and when you don't have knowledge, you don't know what you're supposed to do. No. So, and also there's surrounded by a lot of stigma. So, what Steve wanted to find out, first of all, how to empower a person with disability in business, education, and social well-being.
First of all, thank you for your question, Steve. I personally think that when you have someone who is disabled, they're still human. At the end of the day, they deserve the same rights as everyone else. And yes, there is stigma. There's massive stigma out there for disabled people these days. But luckily, there's people like us who can see past that and support these people. And I think, initially, when you have someone who other people see as less able,
yes,
you're fighting an uphill struggle. So you need to let the world know that these disabled people are still valuable. They can contribute to life, the workforce, education. They can learn, and they all have something they're good at. All of them.
And this thing that with this stigma, it's a shame, because you find a lot of autistic people are absolutely intelligent.
Yes.
When they are good as a subject, they are very good at it.
Yes.
But people don't seem to understand.
No, they don't see past the labels.
Yes, correct. I agree with that. And if you don't see their potential, you cannot be able to bring them to the fore.
That's it.
Exactly. So now, how are you able to advise people to be able to identify somebody's strong suits than to just see their inability?
Basically, by seeing them as a person. See them as a person just like you and I, and look at what they're good at, and encourage them to keep doing that, and get them out there doing it openly for other people to see how good they are.
Yes. I find sometimes when you go to a place, because there's a lot of sensory issues, isn't it?
Yes.
So I think when you find something that is not what people perceive to be normal, people don't tend to know how to deal with it.
No.
So even though somebody has got this talent, or they're so good at a subject, but here comes the sensory issues, people don't seem to understand how to
how to adjust the environment to suit these people.
How would you advise that?
Well, from a personal point of view, my daughter has a health condition where she's extremely photosensitive, and so for her to attend school, she has to wear category 5 welding glasses to block out all the light, otherwise she can have seizures. So she wears these glasses to school, which in a school of say 1,200 pupils, it's highly unusual to see a child walking around with sunglasses indoors. It's one of the adjustments we have to make, otherwise she just wouldn't be able to take part in her education, the same as the other students. And also, she wears ear defenders to school because she can't cope with the loud environment. So it's just about making very small adjustments to the environment, to other people's behaviour. We're not asking other people to do anything that makes them uncomfortable. but it's just about making the disabled person feel comfortable in the real world environment.
Yeah.
And it's just small adjustments. It's not things that cost a lot of money or put you out of your way. It's just making small adjustments to make everybody feel comfortable and to bring the best out. And now that my daughter uses these things to help her cope, she's able to learn better. Therefore, she's achieving.
See, that's what we need every parent to do. Don't deny. I know a lot of parents. It's hard to come to terms with.
It is very hard
It's
to.
very hard.
It's actually like a form of grief.
Yeah.
It's a form of grief in realising that your child won't have the life that other children get.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean to say their life is any less or worse.
Very well said.
It's just different.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, when it comes to the stigma that is out there, I think a lot of parents feel they have no choice other than not to bring the children out in the open. Because say for instance when you're going to the supermarket,
Yes.
most of these children, because of the sensory issue, might tend to touch everything, might just drop something, push something down. There is the outbursts as well.
Yes.
So how do you now advise parents to see beyond that as well and just be okay to just let the children be, because that's how people are gonna be
God, they
able
judge.
to
They
understand.
judge. They judge. And you feel that you're under scrutiny all the time. I mean, I have myself as a parent had a supermarket incident where a member of staff in a supermarket, it was in another country, but they thought it was okay to vocally voice their opinion that I was a bad parent because my child couldn't cope in the supermarket
There's a
and
lot
was
of that.
screaming.
Yeah.
And I actually got very upset and cried and walked out the supermarket, but I was lucky that I was with a family member who was a bit more vocal than me, and she went up to this person and said, you do realise this is the situation here, you're judging this situation, judging by what you see, you know nothing. And that's it. It's taken so many instances like that for me to actually develop a kind of armour against it, and it's a bit like now, you can say what you want. I know the real story, I know how to look after my daughter. If I left my daughter with you, I don't think I could say the same thing. You don't know my situation, so if they judge you, they're not the right person for you. You need to not have people like that in your life.
See, that's why this initiative came to be, because topics like this can make people out there be more empathetic, because that's all we're asking for. Just try and understand that it is not the fault of these children, because at the end of the day, a child has to be raised by a village, but it takes one child to change the perception of the whole village. So if we all kind of have these conversations where people can start to begin to understand what sensory issues are, why this child is having an outburst, it's not about the parent being naughty. And some of us actually try. You find parents walking around where they constantly have to put a child a lanyard on their neck to try and just let people know it is not the fault of this child. There is a condition here, but you still don't find people identifying that.
No, because thinking about it, all behaviour is communication. So when a child behaves in a certain way, they're trying to communicate to you that they're upset or whatever it is that's bothering them, but they don't have the language, so they're using what they have to communicate to you how they're feeling. So you become very good at interpreting what that means. Whereas the real world outside, a lot of people don't know that, and they just take it for what it is, like a screaming child lying on the floor of a supermarket, or for instance, that I've seen stories of like children with sensory issues with clothing, they take their clothes off, and because they don't like the feeling of the clothes on their skin, and other parents judge them, and they know nothing of the situation and what the parents of these children are going through.
If it's okay with you, Jenny, could you try and make us understand, because sensory, it actually comes in different shapes and forms, isn't it?
From my point of view, my daughter's sensory issues, a lot of them are centred around her head. So basically, her eating, hearing, taste, smells is another one. And she likes different feelings of soft fabrics, soft fleecy fabrics, warm fabrics, because they make her feel safe.
Yeah.
And so if, for instance, you go into a shop and it's maybe a food shop and they're making food and there's smells, she'll not want to be in there. She'll hate it and we have to leave.
Yeah.
Restaurants, eating out or anything like that.
Yeah.
We have to carefully think about where we're going to go as a family when we go out.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, I tend not to do it.
Yeah.
Not because I think, oh, I'll hide my child away, but more because I know that she doesn't like it and she wouldn't enjoy it, so why would I put her through it?
Correct.
So I just think, that's something I'll do with my other daughter or with a friend, or find other ways to do those things myself.
Yeah.
You're right when you say about people judging because they're not seeing the bigger picture. They're just seeing what they're seeing.
Yeah.
And it's never the parents' fault that the children is doing that. And often, like in that situation in the supermarket myself, I was judged because of how my child was reacting to the environment.
Yeah.
It's never the parents' fault.
Okay. Now, you had it from here. When you're out there and you're walking around and you can see a parent walking around with a child who is struggling a little bit, let's try and be a little bit more empathetic. There could be a hidden reason as to why this is happening. Let's all try to understand, because at the end of the day, it takes a special person to understand a child with no voice. Let that special person be you. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back again. We have so much topics to cover and so many questions to cover, and we are trying the best we can, aren't we, Jenny?
Oh yes.
And we're going to continue doing this, and please remember to keep the questions coming. We will put a link up for you so you can be able to know where to reach us, and if you yourself have got a story and you've got a bit of suggestion or ideas that can help us, please feel free to share. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Don't play with it, don't be dishonest. Ay, still not understand.
Hello and welcome back to Shine Like a Diamond Initiative channel with me, Shinelikeadiamond. We are here back today to discuss topics and questions that have been sent to us. So again, to continue this open conversation of this beautiful subject, to empower these children and give them a voice, because we do know there's a lot of children there who don't have a voice, and parents who kind of can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So by opening this conversation, we are all going to find a common ground where we are able to tackle questions and be able to reach out to people out there. Hopefully, as